Hey everyone, and thank you for stopping in with Geeks Colorado today. We are Colorado Festival of Horror, and this is Monique Dupree and her all this loveliness, who she does her own costumes. I mean, you've been a mermaid this weekend. You've just kind of done everything. So how do you come up with these costumes?
I don't know. Sometimes I'll see something on television, or I'll just I think a lot, and also the creative brain is just always going. So I'm like, you know what? I said that to my husband. I was like, you know what? I want to be a mermaid. He was like, okay. All right. Well, I don't know what to say to that. And I was like, well, I'm going to get some mermaid stuff, and I'm going to talk to Brett and see if we can do a mermaid photo op. And he was like, well, okay, well, good luck with that. So it kind of like pops into my head sometimes. I get ideas from my children as well, where they'll go, you know what? You should do this. They give me ideas with creating my jewelry as well. Which was selling really well this weekend. The pop culture, One Piece and Naruto and all of that stuff that I don't even think about. But yeah, it just pops up into my head, and or maybe it's something that I've always wanted to do. Like I did do the photo op with the tentacles. They called it the Kraken. I don't actually know what to call it except for like the octopus thing. But I also use that for my burlesque performances as well.
Okay.
So I just want to be creative, and even when I'm doing something that somebody else I know a lot of people do, I try to make mine just unique in some form or fashion.
Yeah, and it's great that you have your family support. Like I saw your husband when you were in the mermaid getup, pushing you around the luggage mover. You were just sitting there waiting on it, and he was just driving you through the hallway.
Yes,
so that was pretty great.
My 14-year-old actually carried me because she was like, I'll carry you wherever you need to go. I said, listen, I'm not gonna have you carry me around. I'm heavy. And she was like, no, jump in. And she did carry me around.
Oh, that's impressive.
I call her my bodyguard though, because I don't know if you've seen her, but she's almost taller than me now, but she's 14. But yeah, I do have the support of my family, and I love that.
Oh man. Now, I don't want to rehash a lot of the things that I was kind of the fly on the wall listening to other interviews with you, but one of the things that my outlet focuses on is diversity and equity issues within the geek world.
Right.
So one of the things that I heard you talking about was actually teaching your kids to read with comic books and graphic novels, which is really popular right now. So would you like to tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I'm seeing that as popular now, and I was just like, when I was doing this back like a decade and a half ago, it was severely frowned upon. Yeah. People were like, that's not how you actually teach, your kids, and this is not real. Like, I didn't even know what that meant. The whole, this isn't like real written works. What do you mean?
Yeah. It was an art form that they didn't want to acknowledge.
Exactly, for the longest time, but because we are creative beings, we used what was around us. And also one of the things that helped my husband, because he's dyslexic, and now he's a writer, he's a comic book artist, he's an artist. He strengthened his reading by reading comics, and he said it was something about like the bubbles and going from here to there, that and the visuals that made it pop out more for him, that made it more pliable for him to read. So when we were having trouble with our kids, he was like, hey, why don't we just try this? And I was like, you know what, that's a good idea. So we started out with a comic, but then we went into the graphic novel because there's more of it, and then capture their interest, and they have them continue so that they can continue to practice. And that was something that was successful, so we made it a part of our curriculum, because our curriculum isn't strict, because like I had said before, everybody doesn't learn the same. Like, I don't like that, people will say we're all individuals, but even as individuals, you have to do all of this the same way. But how does that strengthen our individuality? And so my answer was just to homeschool our kids. And each one of them learn in a different way. And it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. I chose the absolute hardest road I could absolutely choose. But they're worth it. They're my children. And if not me, then who? I love the teachers in Baltimore. I know a lot of them, but they're overworked. It's not that they don't want to teach these kids, it's that there's too much going on. They're underpaid and have too many students in the class. So how can I give my child to them and go, oh, here's one more for you. Push, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Still getting the same, crappy pay.
True.
But it's just one of those things. So we try to teach them the best way we know how, and we're artists.
Yeah.
Like our 14-year-old who is now, nationally known, traveling with us with her artwork. If she wasn't homeschooled, I don't think she would be as good an artist as she is. But just in between time where she, felt like she was too strained with doing math or whatever, she would just do art. And instead of me going, no, you have to do a certain amount of hours of this, I would let her go. Because then it relaxed her mind and put her back into her thinking mode to be able to work on what I need her to work on.
Yeah.
So those are the things that we live in a society, everybody forces so many different things, and art is downplayed so much. How do you remove music and art from schools, and how do you not even teach cursive anymore? And oh my God,
yeah,
it's just
things are changing. I remember having cursive pounded into me by teachers.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's I'm like, how do you sign a check? Well, people don't really do checks anymore. Well, yeah, people still do give checks.
Yeah.
And last time I checked, writing your name is not a signature.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I don't know, things have changed so much. So I'm glad that we took the route that we did. But at first, when we started on that venture, I started having doubts because my husband wasn't in full agreement with pulling them out of school. But over time, he started to see how that was very necessary. And even now, how people go, well, how are your children so well-spoken and, so poised? And it's because they were homeschooled.
Yeah, I want to say you kind of remind me of my mother in that, because she actually used graphic novels to get me to read, because I hated reading as a kid. And she used to have these series called ElfQuest, and that's what she taught me how to read with. So I want to thank you from the kids' perspective for doing that. I don't know if your kids have gotten to the point where they've thanked you for how you've educated them and how you got them, but thank you for that. Though.
They do. They definitely have thanked both of us for how they learn and how they get to learn, and I'm so very grateful for that. Even our 10-year-old, who I was saying, she's struggling with reading right now as we speak, and she was like, Mom, am I dumb? And I was like, hell no, you're not dumb. You learn differently than everybody else, even myself included. I was like the smartest kid in class, but was so stupid when it came to just regular street knowledge, getting from point A to point B, the things that were important to survive.
Yeah.
I was just a book smart person, and that was it. So there's all these different levels of intelligence, and you have a conversation with her, you'll think you're talking to somebody that's 60 or 70 years old. It's just that she has trouble writing it and reading it, receiving it in that way. And she does not want to do the comic book stuff. So I've had to find other little ways. She likes magazines. So sometimes we look at magazines together, and she picks up words and things like that, because the articles are too much to read. But I have to do stuff like that, and also YouTube stuff where she watches people that will write things down, and she wants to read it because they're her favorite YouTuber, and she wants to know what they're saying. So I had to do something really unconventional with that one, because she decided not to be like everybody else. But she thanks me all the time for how she learned. She was like, I talked to some of my friends, and they're like, you're so proper and you know so much. And blah 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 blah. And she was like, I'm like, well, my mother teaches me everything. So I'm so incredibly grateful for that, and thank you for saying that.
And you're highly busy, you know, besides, you know, like you said, homeschooling your kids, you're a wrestler, you're an actress, you do burlesque. Is there any of those projects that you like more than others, or do you enjoy them all?
Well, I do enjoy them all. However, I must say that right now in this particular point in my life, if I could do burlesque for most of my time for the next year or so, that is absolutely what I would do. If I can just get booked traveling and doing burlesque, horror related burlesque, because that's specifically what I do. Like, you know, I do Michael Myers all blinged out and you know, Pirates.
So if you're watching this, try to book her.
Yes, I like to do, I mean, years ago I used to do like classic burlesque.
Yeah.
But when I came back to it, I'm like, I love horror and I love creating costumes and stuff, and I love burlesque. I'm gonna put all three of these together and just have this. So I don't really do classic burlesque, even though I can. I even use a yoga chair when I'm performing. They call it the upside down twerk now when I'm doing it.
Okay.
yeah. But I come alive because first of all, I'm performing in front of, it's almost like theater.
Yeah.
You know, except it's burlesque. You're taking off some clothes or whatever. But
it's an art form.
It is. It's completely an art form. So it gives me the instant gratification that I kind of need right now, going through the mental stresses that I've been going through. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel empowered. It kicks up my creativity, and I get to pack a performance in like that 5 minutes. So that's what I want to do more of right now. But I would love to travel more for it, because right now I'm doing it in New York, DC, and Maryland.
Okay.
But I just met somebody out here in Denver, and then somebody else told me that they know a burlesque troupe, and I was like, listen, I'm worth it if you get me out here, and if you guys get me out and just do a string of shows or promotions, or have me host, or just not just one show, just put me to work for everything, just like here at Colorado Festival of Horror. You know, I hosted karaoke, I did some panels, I did some photo ops. You know, I'm not opposed to hard work, if you haven't noticed by now. I am definitely okay with hitting the pavement and just doing all of this and resting on the plane when I'm flying back home.
Yeah. And you're also a Marvel fan.
I am.
Is there any character you would have wanted to do, or if they revamp or redo a character that you would want to play? Like, who's your favorite that you'd like to portray?
Well, see, when it comes to stuff like that, I don't like have favorites.
Okay.
But I will say that so I'm dying to be a part of the Marvel Universe. Well, so you heard my conflict. So I don't want to be famous, but
if you get a Marvel, it happens. Yeah.
Listen, all Marvel has to do is say you can walk across the screen while all the other characters are.
You'd be an extra. You'd be happy with being even an extra.
Absolutely. You know, I'm a huge fan of Doctor Strange, but I'm gonna tell you, I am a recent huge fan of Doctor Strange. I never really liked the comics that my husband was reading. Yeah. And so at first I wasn't excited about seeing the first movie, but because, you know, I'm married and he's a super geek, I went with him, and I was like, oh, what is this? And like, he was like, well, I gave you the comic books, and I was like, I have to go back and reread this. But now I took the luster of, you know, that first movie. I was like, I am Doctor Strange. Like, but I'm a woman, so I'm a woman.
Gender all the time.
Yeah, I mean, in the multiverse.
Yeah, exactly. Doctor Strange could be a woman.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look at Into the Spider-Verse, all that. but I fell in love with Doctor Strange. But it's just really weird because he was a character that I did not like at all. And then I saw the movie and then I went backwards.
Yeah.
So then I had interest in the comic. I think I just saw it differently. Like I can envision, you know, the actor that plays him.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes, I'm bad with names. He brought that character all the way to life for me and made me super love Doctor Strange. So now I'm like a big fan. Yes. But that's a recent development, you know, because I wasn't at all. So I'm an equal opportunity. Listen, I just want to be in a Marvel movie, and that's it. That's all. That's it. If we were talking about DC, well, I've always wanted to be Storm.
Okay.
But I'm not.
Marvel technically owns X-Men, so
that's true.
That's still Marvel.
That's still Marvel. I forgot about that. But it wasn't.
Yeah, it's still Marvel.
Oh my God, that's right. Okay, so
that's why we're having crossovers with like Deadpool and the X-Men.
Storm.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Woot.
Well, so my issue, I don't really want to nitpick, but we debate about this all the time. So I love Halle Berry, and I love her as an actress, and she's amazing. But I did not see her as Storm in any form or fashion. I just feel like she was the wrong height, the wrong complexion. They went with somebody who was just popular.
Yeah.
And she played the character, but she didn't have the necessary requirements like the height. First of all, the statuesque Amazonian, you know, African, just she didn't have any of those things.
Yeah.
I know Iman may not be like an actress, but like I visualized like that kind of person playing Storm.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I should be Storm. Like, and even I feel like I'm too short technically. I would need like
some. How are you?
Well, I'm 5'9", but I feel like I'm getting shorter in my older life.
Your spine compresses,
Right, but you know, if I'm to remember correctly, Storm is like 6 foot. She's Amazon.
She's like 6'1". She's pretty big.
She's Amazonian. So I would have to like wear heels to still make up for that height thing. So Wolverine being taller than Storm didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
But Hugh Jackman can play Storm to the end of time. I mean, play Wolverine to the end of time, but he should have had the correct Storm, you know, next to him. So I have an ongoing issue with that. Anytime we talk about Storm, I try not to say anything, and I don't want Halle Berry to ever hear anything and think that I was like saying I didn't like her.
Yes, because this is going to be on the internet.
Yes, but at the same, it had nothing to do with her.
Yeah,
it
was just the role and then putting her in.
I mean, and I'm sure that they've heard this 1,000 times.
Yeah,
you know, when you look visually and you see that Wolverine is like technically taller or even same height-ish, that didn't work well for me. And it's just, you know, it's just who Storm should actually be. It should not have been Halle. I mean, you know, my personal opinion, and it, like I said, it has nothing to do with acting, because if I closed my eyes and listened to her play, she played her very well.
Yeah.
But if I open my eyes and watch it, she doesn't fit it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's been my biggest pet peeve about that, and I will go on forever. So I will stop.
Well, I don't want to keep you forever because I know you've got things to do, and I know they need the crew. But just for a last thing, for social media, where can people find you, and what are your handles on the different platforms?
They're so scattered now because I had explained before that my Instagram got hacked.
Yeah.
And so I tried to keep all my names the same, but as things happened with
Yeah.
social media. So my Instagram is actually Monique Dupree. I always say when in doubt, just Google my name, because I swear to you, sometimes I forget certain social medias of mine,
Okay.
and I have to Google myself to go, oh, it's this handle, just so I can remember.
Okay.
Most places you can find me at The Original Gata, THA Original Gata,
Okay.
because I'm a cat. That's why I have the leopard print.
Yep.
That's why I have the cat. TikTok is The True Original Gata. And I do a lot of, it's a variety act TikTok that has no challenges on it or anything like that
Well, that's
whatsoever.
good. So, yeah.
Just uplifting things, or the things that my kids do, the weirdness that happens there. But that's pretty much my socials. I just revamped my website, www.moniquedupree.com. I noticed that people don't have websites anymore,
Yeah.
but I still want to cultivate mine, because that was where I would get the most traffic, so that if I put everything there, people can go on there
It
and
centralizes.
right.
Yeah.
So they can go on moniquedupree.com in order to see all of my other socials, because I just started updating all of that stuff again. I had lost that too. It was hacked and I fought to get it back, but I finally got that back literally 2 weeks ago.
Social media.
Right, so I've been on there like for the last 2 weeks trying to like update stuff or backtrack, like post appearances that I was at that already happened,
Yeah.
but make it seem like it was current, and it was just, it's so weird to do, but
Yeah.
I just want people to know that I'm working all the time, so that they see
Yeah.
this when they go to this.
And there's no
website.
weird gaps in history. So,
Right, because
yeah.
there was like a whole almost year's gap. So I'm going back, filling in things, so it's all mixed up, but it doesn't even matter, because it's just important to me that people can have one place to go to see all of the things that I'm doing, to know that I am constantly working, and that I want to work on doing more things. Haven't even put the burlesque stuff on there yet, but I'm working on that.
Yeah.
And as soon as I fly home, that is the next
Remember, pick
thing.
her up if you want,
Yes.
some for burlesque shows.
Especially if you love horror and burlesque. And I do take requests. Like I have people asking me to do a couple of different things. What I would love to do is a jigsaw. So like I want to come out on a tricycle. I literally I need to.
Cool and creepy at the same time.
I need to make this happen.
Okay.
So I'm working on that, even though my October shows for burlesque are for specific things already. So I'd have to do it like not around Halloween season, unless somebody books me and gives me like an amount of money to work with, because like you give me $100, I'm about to be jigsawing. but yeah, that's been an idea that I've been working on.
Cool.
I'm not gonna say much more about it, because I don't want somebody to like take the idea, because I have it branded a specific way that I want to do it.
Well, we can't wait to see it. Hopefully it'll happen. And thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you. I really truly appreciate you, and I'm sorry about the way.
You're good.